All right, guys, in this video, we're going to be continuing our exploration of the trigonometric graphs. So we're going to be looking at sine and cosine graphs in particular. And in this particular section, you're going to be doing some discovery, if you will. You're going to be manipulating a sine or cosine equation to try to make it match the one that is given. So some basic things before we get started here. Eventually, we're going to be writing these equations in the next section. For this one, we're just kind of going to be manipulating a little bit. But if we have a sine or cosine equation, generally they're going to look like this form. Y equals sine of bx, call it plus c. So each of these letters, a, b, and c, are going to be a constant of some sort. The a here in front refers to what we call the amplitude, which we've seen before, right? That's going to change the amplitude. This B1 affects the period. We'll get into how exactly it affects the period at some point, not right this second. And the C, the plus C out here, it could be a minus, we'll say plus or minus C. That's going to shift up or down, shift up / down. So really the B with the period, that's sort of like a horizontal shift, if you will. But that's going to be what we're going to refer to as our period is going to come from that B. It's not exactly B isn't the period, but that's going to help us determine our period. So as you're manipulating these, note that this one affects the amplitude, this one affects the period, and this one affects actually sort of the midline, but it shifts up and down, shifts up and down. So those are what those three things are going to do. So what you're going to be doing in this is you're going to just plug in values as you see fit to make this black line match the dotted line. So in this one, the only thing that looks like it needs to happen is this needs to shift up one, right? Looks like it needs to shift up and then we'll be good. So all I'm going to do is hit a plus and then just type in 1 there. I'm not going to change the other ones. So if this were written out as an equation, this would just be y equals sine x plus 1, with not filling in those gaps. And then we're just going to hit try. And if it moves up and it matches, it'll say something like, that is correct, you got it. Press to submit. So you'll actually know if you got it right or not before you even submit. So that's going to give you the next one. So you look at what's different. So this one, it looks like we need to move this up a lot, right? We need to sort of stretch it vertically, which means we want to change the amplitude because it needs to be a lot higher. This needs to get stretched all the way up to there, but it also goes down as well. So we need to change the amplitude. Now, in a given equation, the amplitude is actually just sort of an invisible 1 there, right? If it's just y the cosine equals cosine of x, there's just an invisible 1 there, so the amplitude is 1. If you look here, the amplitude is 5 because it goes all the way from the x-axis up to 5 and all the way down to -5. So the amplitude of this function would be 5. So we're just going to write a 5 here in front. And nothing else will need to change. I think in this first section, it might only require 1 change in these. And in this case, it's just amplitude. And boom, we've got it there.